is a type of medicine that trains your body to fight any foreign agents.
Plants are helpful for the ecosystem.
It's an electronic device for storing and processing data.
The nervous system is all the collection of nerves in your body.
Yeast is a eukaryote.
Welcome to Spectacular Science, where it's all about science, with your host, Akshay.
Hey listeners, welcome back to this episode of Spectacular Science. I'm your host, Akshay. I've been wondering lately how we are able to produce energy from what we eat. And I've been eating a lot of sugar today, and I'm feeling really energetic. And I wonder why, and why we need to eat in the first place to get energy. Well, in this episode, I'm going to take you on a deep dive into the science of cellular respiration. That's the process which our body goes through when it produces energy out of food. It's really cool. And in this episode, we're going to take a deep dive into this cellular science. The science of cells. Okay, now time to take a deep dive into this cool science. So first of all, let's talk about cells. So what are cells? Well, cells are the smallest building blocks of life. They're the smallest unit of life, and they are able to carry out different functions that the body in a whole actually needs. So for example, that's producing energy, or even just getting rid of waste in your body, like viruses, and protecting your body against these pathogens. So your cells do so much, and they have these smaller parts called organelles. Organelles perform specific functions that help the cell in the whole, and the cell performs functions that help the entire human body as a whole. And just to be clear, cells are in every single living thing, not just humans. They're in plants, they're in bacteria, they're even in other animals such as lions and even cheetahs. It's amazing to just think about cells. But in this, we're going to take a deeper dive into cellular respiration, which is the process our body goes through when we are turning food into energy that we need. First of all, let's start off with the basics of cellular respiration. So which one of the organelles inside the cell actually is responsible for cellular respiration in animals? Well, that is the mitochondria. The mitochondria, also known as the powerhouse of the cell, is actually the organelle that actually does cellular respiration. And that's what we're going to be focusing on today. The mitochondria has special proteins and undergoes lots of chemical reactions which cause cellular respiration. So first of all, let's start off from us eating. When we eat, our food is broken down, and it's what's extracted from it, which is the most important, is glucose, which is a form of sugar. So this glucose is basically what gives your body energy. And this molecule, which is also known as glucose, can actually be broken down into smaller pieces called ATP, or adenosine triphosphate. This is basically, let's think of it as money in this case. And the glucose is like a bar of gold. So if you want to get the money out of the bar of gold, you have to exchange that into a bank, and they'll give you back the money. So that's basically how this works. So the glucose gets broken down inside the mitochondria to get that ATP money. And that money is what your body uses to spend on different body functions, such as walking. Let's take a deeper dive into that process inside your mitochondria. So it takes in the glucose, and it also takes in oxygen, which you breathe in. And when you breathe in that oxygen, it gets delivered through your blood and into the mitochondria of these thousands, maybe even millions of cells in your body. As this happens, cellular respiration starts. It starts by doing lots of complex chemical reactions, which end up creating carbon dioxide, water, and of course, ATP. The carbon dioxide and water are known as byproducts of this chemical reaction. Byproducts are basically what's left over from doing that chemical reaction. That's why we humans breathe out carbon dioxide, is to get rid of that waste. And the water can be used anywhere in our body, or it can just be excreted through sweat or even just pee. And that is how cellular respiration works. There's so much more inside cellular respiration. Like, for example, lots of those chemical reactions actually break apart that glucose to create ATP. And this ATP is really important because that's what your muscles and basically any piece of your body uses to get energy. If cells have ATP, they get really excited, sort of. Like when kids get excited when we see candy and cookies. Ooh, yummy. Anyway, those cells are actually using that ATP as their kind of cookies to use as energy. And that's why we need a lot of things to eat throughout the day. That's because all that glucose comes from what we eat on a regular basis. So eating is actually really important, and this cellular respiration actually ties in with so many other systems in your body, like the digestive system, which helps extract that glucose from your food in the large and small intestines. And there's so much going on in your body that you really don't know about. And the cellular respiration is one of those things that's obviously really, 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 really important because it helps you create energy in your cells. The mitochondria and all the things that go on inside your cells are just amazing. I really want some cookies and candy. Oh, I can just taste it. Okay, gotta get some cookies and some candy out of the drawer. But before I go, what did we learn today? We learned that cellular respiration is a process that our cells do inside the mitochondria, which is an organelle of the cell. In cellular respiration, our bodies take in oxygen and glucose from our food and turn it into ATP, or adenosine triphosphate, carbon dioxide, and water. The carbon dioxide and water are the byproducts of this reaction, and the ATP is what we use for energy. ATP is really important. It kind of gets cells excited, and it helps give them energy. The mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell, and that's where all this cellular respiration is going on. In animal cells, the cellular respiration is really important for the survival of the animal, and it basically gives the entire animal energy for it to survive and for it to have energy to do everyday things like walking or even thinking. We all need energy, and I'm using up energy right now by talking. That's why I need to go get my cookies. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Spectacular Science. Spectacular Science is produced and hosted by me, Akshay J. Raman. Our theme song and additional music are by Charan Ramachandran. Special thanks to Varun Ramachandran. Please visit my podcast website, spectacularsci.com, to find interactive activities, blog posts, articles, and all of our episodes. You can also find the link to sign up for the Spectacular Science membership, where you get lots of bonus content to keep you thinking about science. My favorite of those is the fact of the day, when you get a fun science fact every day. Sign up at spectacularsci.com/membership. Please follow or subscribe to this show on any podcasting platform or wherever you're listening right now. It really encourages me when you subscribe, and it means a lot. Thank you so much. I always love hearing from my listeners about science, and I just love interacting with my listeners. So please contact me at spectacularsci.com/contact or email me using the link posted on the page. Thank you so much for listening to this episode, and we'll see you on the next episode of Spectacular Science next week. Keep thinking about science.